at the running back position, but there's still more running backs to look at. One running back that's up there on a lot of people's boards is Ashton Genty when it comes to talent, but we're going to look into his prospect profile from high school to now. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now because we're talking about these prospects every day. We're getting you ready for the 2025 NFL Draft and your Dynasty rookie drafts. But going back to high school, he was under-recruited, he was underrated, he was rated as a 3-star by 24/7 Sports, ranked as the 43rd best running back in the class. He had 17 offers. He decommitted from California and signed with Iowa. He also had offers from schools like Iowa State, Ball State, and Cincinnati. And when you watch the tape from his high school days, you definitely see the size, you see the power, you see the fluidity of movement, the change of direction skills, and you definitely saw the baseline of what we were going to see once he got that jump start over at Iowa and finished off his career here in 2024. He broke out as a freshman with the Iowa Hawkeyes with 779 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 catches for 27 yards. He was balling out. His best game was against Purdue, where he rushed for 200 yards and a touchdown. Also put up 100 on Nebraska and Nevada, 93 on Northwestern, but he was productive. He was on the radar during his freshman season, 5.2 yards per carry. Then we get into the sophomore season, 463 yards. We had some injuries, and then this year put the cap on things, 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, and we ramped up the receptions up to 22 catches for 188 yards. Looking at his sophomore campaign, we had some injuries. We were second on the team in rushing, but we put up 134 yards on Purdue. We got a touchdown. Remember, we missed 3 games with an injury. On top of that, he had some ramp-up time from those injuries, so it really slowed him down going into his junior season, where we saw him go off multiple times. 8 games of over 100 yards, 206 yards on Minnesota, 187 yards on Iowa State, 166 on Washington, 135 on Wisconsin. He was making it rain all season long. 86 yards and a touchdown on Ohio State, 5.7 yards per carry. Kaleb Johnson had a very productive junior season, put the stamp on things, and this season put him on the radar and made him one of the top running backs in college football. The injury history is what we need to look at here, because a lot of people are going to look at that sophomore season and realize that, hey, he missed some time. There's a reason why he only rushed for 463 yards, put a damper on the counting stats, but something to pay attention to when you look at his prospect profile. However, yards after contact per attempt, 4.42 yards after contact per attempt this year, over 1,000 yards, and 466 missed tackles. 51 missed tackles forced as a freshman, while averaging 3.34 yards after contact per attempt. This is a trend we saw throughout his career when healthy. Creating yards after contact, maximizing his runs. This year had 43 yards of 10-plus yards. He was balling out. He was very efficient, and he had a large share of the carries out of the backfield. 47 this year. His highest was during his freshman season with 63, and then his share of the rushing yards, 59.8%. He was balling out. He was the key piece of the Iowa offense, and we know that. But in the passing game, that is what people are really harping on about his college production. He averaged 11.9 yards after the catch per reception this year, 10.3 the year prior, 10.9 on his career. That lets you know when he gets the ball in space, catching it in the flat, he has a good chance of getting you those chunk yards. That's what that says. That means he's not a liability. Matter of fact, that's a plus where he can get you more than expected. That's a good thing. On top of that, 25 targets this year. Doesn't sound like much, but 4th in the team on targets. The top receiver in targets on Iowa only had 47. That being said, low volume passing offense. He had a 10.12% target share in 2024, which is a good target share for a running back. If you're hitting double digits, that's a good target share for a running back. So we're owning a good spin out. He's a very patient runner. He's good at getting yards after contact. He can handle a lot of work, a lot of carries, take on a lot of damage, and still keep trucking. His main negative to me is probably not elite speed, not elite burst, but it's something you don't have to have as a runner anyway to be competitive in the National Football League, to be productive in the National Football League. But there's really not much to his profile to harp on. Maybe not much experience as a receiver out of the backfield to really be a workhorse for his new NFL team. And where we're seeing him go in a draft is likely on day 2, somewhere in rounds 2 and 3. And in the mock draft database, on average, he's being drafted in the 2nd round, 62nd overall, the highest 42nd overall. So somewhere around that 2nd to 3rd round range, somewhere in that area. It really depends on what team wants to pull the trigger. And on top of that, if he does fall, there might be a dilution to this running back class because there are so many good running backs that teams just pick their poison, or they might decide to sit on their hands and just wait till day 3 to see who falls to their lap because they know they're going to get a talented running back in day 3. We've seen this with other position groups. We've seen where it was so jacked with a certain position where some players just fell and teams got a discount in the 4th round. I look for Kaleb Johnson to be drafted somewhere on day 2, 2nd to 3rd round, but it is a very deep running back class, and that could make things a little crazy. We've seen that before. When I look at him for his dynasty fantasy football value, his stock, his ADP, I look for him to be easily in the 1st round, one of the top running backs off the board. When I'm looking at mock drafts, people talking about running backs, rankings, some people have him as high as the RB2. Some people are deadlocked into that. Some people have him like RB4, 5, 6. And it's okay because this is a very deep running back class. There's a lot of talent, and the NFL is probably going to be that way as well. And we're going to see these running backs move up and down the board. When it comes to rookie drafts, landing spot, draft capital matters. I look for him to get drafted early in the 1st round, maybe middle of the 1st round, depending on landing spot, ADP, wherever the other running backs go. If he goes in the 2nd round, he has to fall somewhere. There is a good market for him. A lot of people like Kaleb Johnson. I'm very high on Kaleb Johnson. I got him up there. I look for him to be a good workhorse running back at the next level. I look for him to get good opportunity. I look for him to take over whatever backfield he goes to and become the main guy. He has the talent for that. I see the upside in that. I see that upside with a lot of running backs like that in this class. So that might make things a little bit sticky. But odds are he's getting drafted high in rookie drafts. He's getting drafted very high. 1 QB, he is up there. Super flex, he's still going to be up there because he's valued right now as one of the top running backs in this year's draft. I have him up there. I usually mock him up there. I usually rank him up there. And I think Kaleb Johnson is going to be a good get for anybody who gets him in their dynasty rookie drafts. Let me know what you think about him in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.